What's up, YouTube? We're back with another episode of What the Hell Am I Doing? Today, I've got a really interesting find for you guys. I found a house that was built around 1955, and it's been sitting abandoned now for about 4 or 5 years, and it's going to be torn down to make way for a new development. The place I'm talking about is this really interesting place behind me here. I think this is going to be a cool one. So why don't we take a walk around the property and then get inside, see what we can figure out about this one. All right, guys. We're going to start today's adventure just outside the front of this house here at the end of the driveway. We're going to work our way around the property, and then we'll get inside and see what we can figure out about this place. Like I just mentioned in the introduction, this house was built sometime around 1955, and it's been sitting abandoned now for about 4 or 5 years. And this house and that house next door will be torn down to make way for new developments, which will change the shape of this neighborhood forever. This house is located in an affluent neighborhood in the city, which would explain why it has such a large front yard. Like, it's absolutely huge. You got the development sign there, but you can see the front yard's about 40 to 50 feet to the house, which is really impressive for a home in any kind of city, really. But you can see it's been quite some time since anybody's been here. I'll just kind of show you. I'll take you to the front yard here so you can see a little bit better. Like, there's stuff piled up everywhere. There's a lot of junk. You can see tree branches are there that have been cut down for quite some time. There's like bubble wrap here. That's bubble wrap under the snow. Someone left their tires. But yeah, you can see like there's even barrels and all sorts of things. But it really is a nice looking house. I love 50s homes. I think this one's gonna be a really cool one. We'll get a little closer to the house. I'll show you guys the front door. You can see they still have the original door. Looks like the screen door is on the ground. But yeah, you can see they still have the original front door. Really cool looking door. I really like that window on the door. I really like the stonework, which is very typical of a house of this era. And as you can see, obviously they have a couple evergreens on each side of the front door, but they're way overgrown, probably because no one's been here for many, many years. But it is a huge yard. Even the one next door has a huge yard. Look at that. They even have a little garden there. It's really cool. So kind of work this over this way a little bit. What's kind of an interesting feature of this house, they have this little fenced-in patio here, or porch, or whatever you want to call it. And this looks like it comes off a kitchen, but it's quite a little cool spot. What bird? I like that. But yeah, this is pretty neat. You got a nice little walkout. I mean, it's a little strange that it's at the front of the house, but nonetheless, it's a cool little feature. And this would have been a great little hangout spot. And I'm sure the family took advantage of this over the years. Have a little welcome sign there. But there's just all sorts of weird, random stuff sitting here. I'm sure people have been coming and dumping their garbage here for years. As I move back out towards the road, I'll show you, this is the driveway here. Of course, it hasn't been plowed in a long time. But look at this, all sorts of stuff left behind. You have Christmas decorations. And no, these aren't from Christmas 2025. They're many years older than that. They're clearly dead and been sitting here for some time. Got another one there. But wow, really crazy. And of course, next door, the house is lived in. I feel sorry for those people having to look at this. So as we go further into the back here, you can see the meter has been taken off the house. They even have a milk delivery door from the 50s. And it's got that really interesting textured brick too, which is very typical of that era as well. Interestingly, I guess they tried to block access to the backyard because you have these really huge sections of a tree stump just laying all over the place. And I mean, for these to be this big, you know that tree was really old. So let's go back a little more. You can see everything's in rough shape here. Lots of trees everywhere. I wonder if this garage will open. We'll see. I don't want to bring too much attention to myself. That's the only thing. But let's try it. Oh yeah, it opens. All right, so let's go in the garage. Oh, it's got a door on the other side. So we can just go in. I'm gonna turn the light on. Wasn't expecting to need the light out here, so there's the light. Okay. So let's close this behind me. Okay, good enough. And yeah, you can see this is a cool garage. Oh, look at that. They even have a couch, leather couch in here. Got a really old school looking pony there. Wow. Look at that. It's very sporty. Black and red couch. Got an old inkjet printer. And you got a nice workstation here. Oh, this might have been a workout room at one point too. Wow. Now, obviously, this couch here is a pleather couch, probably a little bit more modern. And you got more pieces over here. But wow, this is really interesting to see. Didn't expect this. It's a cool garage. Of course, this could have been used as a jam space too. Well, yeah, look at that. They have a nice workout machine. They left that behind. Kind of hard to believe. Of course, over here in the back, you got more workspace. And of course, I love to point it out every time I see it, they got pegboard on the wall. And I would be led to believe this garage is as old as the house. It's all cinder block. That's an original window. And I can literally see through the cracks in the block there to outside. So this thing is starting to come down a bit. Not in great shape. Oh, wow, it's a pretty cool garage. Pretty cool workspace if you ask me. And you've got the M&M's guy, the red M&M, just jamming away on his guitar. Oh, look at that. They got a ton of kids' toys in there. As they do on the floor as well. Pretty wild. So we'll take this door here, check out the backyard. And as I come out here, it's snowing again. But yeah, look at this yard. The front yard was huge, like I pointed out to you guys, but the backyard is even bigger. And again, being in the city, this is a really surprising thing to see. Everything is usually much more dense in the city, but not here. This yard is really deep and really huge, and you can see why they probably would be redeveloping this area, or at least some of it. We'll see how many other neighbors end up selling over the next couple of years. But the yard has not been taken care of in quite some time. You can see by the tall weeds everywhere. Looks like they had a flagpole there. It's a really interesting old table there that's just falling apart, mostly MDF probably. And of course, as we go back here, you can see they have a shed. And the shed's basically just full of junk, random items, and that's about it. But as I turn around, that's the house over there. So why don't we work our way back towards it? See what we got on the back side. Kind of a cold day today. We've had a lot of cold weather lately. In the last couple of days, we've had rain, freezing rain and snow. Now it looks like it's snowing again. Of course, as we get closer to the house, you get a better idea of what it actually looks like. I mean, at one point, this was a great home that was well loved, you can tell. I mean, they even got their butterflies on the garage. So it looks like back here, you have a bit of a deck space. And there's skids and everything all over it. You can see the basement even has a walk-down entrance, which is quite neat. Oh, look at this. Over here, the deck is sheltered. We got a bit of an altar here. Almost looks like they grew wine or grapes or something for wine. And I'll tell you why in a second. I mean, those look like the plants there. But this is like a terrace here that could have been used for growing as well. And interestingly, under the terrace, they have a hot tub, which obviously has been forgotten and left behind. But you can just imagine the parties they had in this place at one point. And of course, on the back side of the house here, they have a little walkout and a nice little deck. But I can't really break through these vines, so I'm not going to fight my way any closer to it. But it is quite cold out here, and it's quite windy. So I think on that note, guys, I'm gonna stop dilly-dallying and work my way inside, because I think this one is gonna have a lot of cool surprises. All right, guys, we're gonna start today's adventure just inside the front door of this one. We're gonna work our way around the first floor, and then we'll finish this one up in the basement and see what we can figure out about this place. Like I mentioned out front, this home appears to be a 50s home, probably built around 1955 or so, and it's been sitting abandoned now for about 4 to 5 years. And this place and the neighbor next door should be torn down soon to make way for a new development which will change the corner of this neighborhood forever. So right away, I want to show you this door a little bit closer up. It's an absolutely beautiful original door to this home. Looks like it's stained pine. It's got a beautiful frosted window looking out the front porch there. And really interestingly, look down here, you can see there's even a mail slot there. And you don't see that so much in modern homes anymore, but it's definitely a feature that would make sense from the era this home is from. And as I back up, you can see this area as you enter the home has some incredible closet doors. They're mirrored closet doors, and they've got some really cool looking knobs on them too. Very cool. Got flowers on the knobs, and as you can see, it almost looks like iron glass. It's not, but it's still a nice effect, and it really kind of gives this home a comforting feel, and a bit of a warm, safe feel, like it's, you know, like this is a home, not a house. And as soon as I open the garage or the closet here, you can see there's some stuff left behind. Nothing too important. It looks like there's just random junk here that's been collecting. And as you look up, yeah, they have a bit of a shelving system here, which is pretty modern and cool. And that's a pretty old vacuum head there. But there's not a whole lot to see in here except for maybe the old shoes that were left behind. So we'll close this back up. And as I back up, I'll show you guys the flooring in here is definitely a little bit more modern. This looks like it's modern day laminate, probably from the last 20 years or so. And we'll see how much of this house has actually been changed. And when you turn around here, this is the view you're greeted with looking into the home. You can see they have the remnants of an old vintage light there. Still have their broom hanging on the wall. And it looks like they have a little bit more modern day carpeting in here. I wouldn't even be surprised if this is from about 20 years ago as well, which would make sense. But there are a lot of original features. Look at that original switch plate cover there. That's definitely original. And just look at this room. This is obviously the family room here. And it's quite a large room. You have the fireplace at the far end of the room there. A nice gas fireplace, natural gas fireplace. We'll take a closer look at that in a second. And of course, if you look up at the ceiling there, you can see it actually is like that wet, spongy looking Artex effect that they did to the ceiling. And of course, got to point out, because I love it every time I see it, this room has a nice triple layer crown molding going all the way around the room, which is really fantastic stuff. And again, you can see there's a lot of junk in here, a lot of flyers and random items kind of scattered all over the floor. I guess we're going to see a lot of that in this place today. Also looks like there's signs that squatters have been hanging here and partying. I wouldn't be surprised if some of these were squatter clothes. You can see there's lots of bottles and things. We'll kind of point them out as we go through this place. Also, still seasonally appropriate, I suppose, since Christmas was just a few days ago. You have some Christmas wrapping paper left behind. And of course, they have an old little table here, nothing too fancy. And I see they have a flyer here, so we'll see if there's a date on this. You see there's burnt plastic and stuff there, so that's interesting. Okay, I don't really see a date at a quick glance, so we won't waste too much time on that. But as we go over here, that's a closer look at the fireplace here. And you can see it looks like they have linoleum tile in front of the fireplace, which actually might date back to when they built this fireplace. But you could see there's some stone and a bit more of a modern day mantle going around it. And I wouldn't be surprised if that was also done in the last 20 years. Of course, as you get a little closer here, you can see things here that start to indicate when this place might have been empty. There's some COVID testing stuff. You got some notes there. Don't procrastinate, be resilient. So you got some motivational notes there. And yeah, there's not a whole bunch else to see. Of course, you turn around and look across the room. It's a fairly large room. It is a family room, so this would be where all the couches and the TV and everything would be. You can even see over there, that would have probably been where a chair would have been in the corner, and they had like a reading lamp hanging from the ceiling, which is pretty neat. And over here, they have this little front area to the room. And it makes me wonder if this could have been used as like a dining room, because there's a chandelier hanging here. It's nothing too fancy, but it's definitely an older chandelier. It's definitely vintage. You got some porcelain, you got some, metal components, but it's definitely an older piece. And of course, that's that big front window we saw on the walk around there. Not boarded, just covered with curtains. And again, this room also has the Artex ceiling, but there is no crown molding. But look at those cobwebs over there. Just tons of cobwebs in here. Big indication this one's been empty for a long time. Of course, as you look down at the floor, you got all sorts of random items. You got a Dollarama cup. You got like an empty booze bottle. You got coconut water. All sorts of things that maybe a squatter might eat kind of on the floor here. You got some dips. You got granola. You got some food, takeout food in the corner there. So there's definitely some indications that squatters have been hanging out in this place. So we're going to work our way further into the house now. And it looks like right away, as soon as you come into the house, if you were to go to the left, you have the kitchen. And this kitchen, again, the flooring in here seems newer. This seems like 80s, maybe 90s linoleum on the floor. Definitely nothing original to the house. But just look at all the stuff in here. Like there's a lot of squatter food, a lot of indications of squatters been hanging out here. And it stinks like rotten food in here too. Not very pleasant smelling, but you can see it's just everywhere. Just rotten food everywhere. But yeah, as I look around this kitchen obviously has been renovated more recently. It looks like a late 90s, early 2000s kitchen. Just look at that cabinetry. You got some track lights that are probably from the 80s on the ceiling there. But the cabinetry looks like something you'd see from the late 90s, early 2000s. Probably the oldest piece in this room would be this old table here, this old solid wood table, which they left behind with some change. You have this coffee maker, I believe. Again, signs of melted plastic everywhere. I'm not sure why. Take a look in a couple drawers, see what it looks like. The stuff left behind. Foil liners for the drawers. But yeah, you can see there's definitely some things left behind here. You got some water bottles. You got some really gross looking solidified grease and just filth everywhere. But I'm surprised that there's actually this much left. Wow, look at that. You got some wine glasses up there. You have like an 80s or a 90s range hood here. And you just got some various items left on the countertop. May 2021, that expired. So yeah, this stuff is pretty old, which kind of supports my theory. This place has been empty for about 4 or 5 years. Of course, they have this beautiful deck, which is oddly placed on the front side of the house. And it looks outside to the main street there, and you can see there's a snowstorm happening right now. So at least we're inside. We don't have to deal with that in this adventure today. So if I go further this way, you got a side exit or entrance to the house, depending on how you look at it. Again, that appears to be an original door to the house. It's a very nice French door type of door with the nice windows there, solid wood. And of course, to the right here, there's an entryway to the basement, which we'll obviously check out last. This place is a bungalow, so there's no upstairs. So why don't we work our way further into the house this way. Again, as you get to the hallway here, you can see all the flooring has been replaced. It's much more modern. But there's still a lot of original features left, like the doors and this bathroom. Wow. That's definitely like a 50s or a 60s bathroom. You got black and pink tile. We'll take a close, actually, we'll just check this out now. Even the tiling on the floor, that is tiling, yes it is. All original. Again, you have some melted plastic on the countertop. Maybe this is from doing drugs, I'm not really sure. But there's a lot of stuff left, well not a lot, but there's some things left behind in here too. They left their fake flowers behind. Of course you have the fake vintage mirror. And you got like an 80s lamp there. But wow, the feature of this bathroom definitely is the tiling. It's very old school looking. Got a very old school looking tub too. Ooh, there's a pile of hair in the corner there. But yeah, that's definitely an original tub to the house. Nothing in this room has been changed. And again, there's more signs of burning and melted plastic in there. But you can see the hardware. Even the faucet is original to when they built this place. Probably the only thing that's ever been changed is that shower head, which is much more modern, probably like an 90s or maybe an early 2000s unit. Of course, you have a nice window looking at the side of the side property, or the side yard, I should say. But yeah, these tiles, I like that border tile at the top, and I really kind of like that one that kind of gives a little bit of style on the way down. It kind of runs all the way through the bathroom, so that's pretty cool. But you can see everything in here is original. You still have the original countertop and cabinetry. And of course, we got to look. Oh, the toilet is nasty. That is really gross. Oh my. Whew. The brown bomber was here. So we know Johnny's model cars will be happy about that. Of course, you have a very old school switch plate cover there. And now that we're a little further back, I'll give you a better look at the mirror and everything here. Again, a lot of this is pretty vintage and untouched except for that mirror. And this one here also, I would say, is probably a fake old type of mirror. But again, the cobwebs are crazy in here. Look at that group of cobwebs up in the corner there. Now I've noticed you got a lot of notes on the walls, remove, remove. So I'm assuming at one point this place was probably going to see some kind of a heavy renovation. You got your doorbell chime up there. But the renovation probably never happened. Remove, redo bath for Universal. So yeah, all this probably got abandoned because now this place is going to get torn down. But yeah, look at that. They had dog bones down there. They still have some stuff left in here as well. Nothing too crazy, just some random belongings. You got a turd up there. And the attic is open. That would explain the insulation on the floor. Now, before we go any further, I did bypass this door here. So let's take a look and see what this is. And this is a closet. And you can see right down there, they have a very old cassette tape just sitting on the floor. Pretty unusual to see. And as you go through it, lots of random items. You got some air fresheners. And that's really about it. There's nothing up there. So that's interesting. You know, the most interesting part really is the door. It's very small. I'm just going to go back out here and turn around because I got my bag on. So let's work our way further into this one. Oh, look, there's even a cubby up there. But obviously that doesn't do anything because you could see right up to the attic hatch from the main door. But again, it's very old school design. Very typical from the era. And you can see even the trim around all the doors and everything. I'm not going to point every single one out. But every door still has all the original trim. And even the baseboards, even though they've pulled up the floors and changed them, they still have the original baseboards running throughout the house, which is pretty neat too, if you ask me. It's always nice to see original features left. And even as you look up at the ceiling here, they still have the Artex type of work on the ceiling here too. So far, pretty much throughout this house, except for the kitchen, you've got the Artex ceiling. Now over here would be one of the bedrooms. It's not a huge room. You can see those are probably 80s looking curtains from the look of the floral patterns on them. And those probably have never been cleaned. You can literally see they're different colors. Of course, you look this way, the side windows got the same treatment. Again, the window ledges and everything are still original too. And what's quite interesting is you look at the flooring in here, the carpeting, this is much older. Now, I don't think this dates back to when they built the place. But this carpeting would probably be at least 1970s if you ask me. Probably one of the first renovations they would have made. And there's all sorts of turds, and there's bills, and government papers, and all sorts of stuff. I kind of took a look at some of this before I started filming, and a lot of this is dated 4, 5, 6 years ago. So again, this place has been empty for quite some time. That's a very interesting looking dresser there. Obviously that's veneer. It's not a real nice piece or anything. The most fancy part of it would be the brass trimmings and handles. But yeah, this thing looks like it's going to be empty. Looks like they had a Coke party in here. Yeah, there's not much to see in here. More burnt stuff. You got more melted plastic. So again, I'm wondering what that's all about, but I can only assume that some interesting behavior took place in here. Again, you got another interesting switch plate cover, probably dating back to when they built this place. Another cool feature, it's probably glass, but I'll say they're crystal doorknobs. Glass or crystal knobs are still quite classy in my opinion. They're nice. And of course here you got a closet. And there's not a ton of stuff in this closet. It's pretty empty, pretty rudimentary. And this one also has the cubby above. And this one actually is usable, not like the one in the hallway. But you can see this one's quite empty. Again, you got another original door there. A lot of the original features are still left in this one, which is nice. So we come back out to the hallway here. And immediately as we come back out, we got another room right here to our left. So let's check this one out. And again, this one looks like squatters could have been in here. You got a couple of sleeping bags on the floor. You got a really nasty pea-stained mattress against the wall. And of course, you got a similar looking closet as the room we were just in. It also has the cubbies above. And this wall, apparently they were going to keep this wall. So I back up. You see this old curtain here. This is probably from the 80s as well. It's got a similar curtain rod as the one we just looked at in the other room. But the flooring in here, look at this. It's like a burnt orange color, which is clearly a 70s type of carpet. And that kind of supports my theory that the carpet in this room and the room we were just in probably all dates back to a renovation in the 70s. And of course, you can see they still have the original baseboards and door trimmings running through this room as well. Interesting to note, I just noticed the doorknobs in this one are metal on the inside and glass or crystal on the visible side. The same with this one here. They got a mirror on the back side. But the doorknob to the hallway, you have the crystal knob, and the inside is just a generic metal one. Very strange. So coming back out to the hallway, we'll work our way down a little more. Look at this, you got another built-in closet here or a cubby area. Very original to the house as well. Take a look in them, see if there's anything there. Empty. You got some things left behind. There's a water bill from 2021 there. And of course, nothing up there. So that's pretty much that. We'll now check out this back bedroom here. And this one I assume would probably be the master bedroom. It's the biggest of the It's the biggest of the bedrooms, but there's some more motivational notes here. Lots of them. Be a good listener, be respectful, be strong. So obviously somebody was trying to stay motivated to do the right things and to keep moving forward with their life. And you also have this down here. Looks like they were working on weight loss. You can see here they have a list of things that they're working on. Yoga. It's really hard to read it. I can only understand yoga really. But again, more motivational notes, and they're keeping track of their weight. So that's quite interesting. As you turn around, you can see there's just some random things on the floor, some random clothing items. I have a very old exercise bike here, and this thing probably dates back to when the house was built too. Look at that thing. That's quite crazy, and that's how you adjust the tension right there. Make it harder or easier. Of course, over here you have a veneer cabinet, nothing too fancy, and it's just got some random stuff on it. Now over here, there's a nice walkout to the yard. We didn't really get to check this out when we were out there. I'll just show you guys from in here real quick. This room has an incredible little deck, very private, and they got a nice little lattice area there. They might have grown grapes for wine or something, you never know, or it could have been just for shelter. But a great little hangout spot here. Imagine having a bedroom where you could just go out and hang out on the deck or whatever, have a cigar, or do whatever you do. You know I'd be having cigars out here. But you can see the weather's getting quite poor today. And there's the garage over there. Definitely not a great day, but it is what it is. Even left their bowl behind and some rubber gloves. So there's a lot of things here that could even be from COVID. So I really do think this place has probably been empty for about 5 years, just from seeing some of this stuff. Now we're going to work our way back through. We'll end up in the basement next. Again, the smell in here, it doesn't really smell too abandoned or moldy or anything. I'm just smelling a lot of rotten food, and probably that toilet, which was quite disgusting if you ask me. Let's see. So from here, we got steps going downstairs, and it looks like the carpeting on these steps, fairly modern. I mean, this could go back to the 80s, but it also looks like carpeting from the last 20 years. But look at this, they have, what is that, Infamil? Is that what that is? Enfamil, yeah. So that's, I guess that's for babies. And you can see this stuff expired in 2021. And I'm pretty sure it has a shelf life of at least a year or two. So that would support my theory even more. The people who were once here and left probably around 5 years ago. Now, as we get down here, it's quite a mess. Wow. You got a cinder block wall there, probably a foundation wall. Very typical of a 50s home. But look at all this. You got couch cushions. You got boxes. There's lots of garbage. There's lots of stuff I'm not going to dig through, and you guys all know why. You got a vintage looking lamp there with a fairly cheesy looking computer desk. And this thing looks like it's, you know, probably from the 80s or 90s. It's nothing fancy. It's just veneer MDF. And I bet you this basement was done a lot more recently because it's drywalled. You can see the copper thieves have been here a little bit. But as I say that, the ceiling has the Artex still. So this ceiling probably was done when they built the place. And maybe they made some changes down here. Actually, they may have used drywall throughout the house because the Artex is actually on drywall. We're learning as we go. So right away when you get down here, it's quite a big space. I would say this is mostly an entertainment area, like a rec room or something like that. Looks like they have a ping pong table or something here. It says East Point on it, not really sure. Just all sorts of random stuff everywhere though. Got a Christmas gift bag there. That's probably the other half of the table right there. And as we go this way, you can see we got another room here. What is this, like a bathroom? Again, the cabinetry is quite old. Maybe original to the house. You can see there's some mold on the ceiling tiles in here. You've even got some really old wallpaper. Look at that up there. Looks plaid. But yeah, this is a bathroom. Okay. And this one's got something in the toilet too. I don't know if that's a turd, but it doesn't look good. Wow. Really faded old painting. An interesting wall covering. Looks a lot like the floor linoleum in the bathroom that we saw upstairs. Of course, you have a big mirror there with a fluorescent light above it. And you have a cabinet there with the countertops sink combo. And it has some fancy doors considering. Those are actually fairly cool looking. And you have like a very 80s looking cabinet in the corner there. And one thing I'll point out to you guys right now. See the flooring there? That's the subfloor for the main floor. It pretty much looks like a deck. So that also leads me to believe, like I've been saying, this place is built in the 50s. Now just over here, oh, I'm caught on something. I'm caught. Hold on. Okay, not caught anymore. So over here, I'm caught again. Are you kidding me? Okay. This is going pretty badly, guys. Sorry about that. You can see over here they have the tacky wood paneling, probably from the 60s, maybe the 70s. I don't know if they used this in the 50s. And they got an insert shower here, which looks like a 70s type of insert shower. It's quite dirty. It's quite basic. Even has a very basic shower head. And that's really all there is to see in this room here. And as we come out to this main area over here, you can see they also had like a little kitchenette here, or a little bar area. Not a whole lot to see. You can see there's part of a desk laying on the floor there. But again, it's all original cabinetry. None of this is too new. The newest thing again might be the linoleum tile on the wall. But what's cool down here, move this crap out of here. That's a pretty cool sink. It's a nice porcelain sink with a very generic faucet on it. But again, these cabinets, yeah, all this definitely dates back to when they built the place for sure. And you can see the design on the ceiling is pretty similar to the one upstairs. It's not such a wet, mushy one anymore, or wet, mushy Artex, but it's very similar. Okay, so let's work our way back out to this main area here. See what we got over here. Again, we're kind of right down at the bottom of the stairs. Stairs are right there. And there's just stuff all over there. That's a monitor stand there. You got somebody's bag there. Got a really nice walkout to the backyard here. As you guys can see, this, you know, broken screen door and all sorts of stuff there. And of course, that's looking at the sheltered area we were looking at from the bedroom. We got a nice yard. Considering the city that this is in, it's a pretty big yard. And of course, this is the couch that we saw the cushions for on the floor. And look at this. What do we have here? All natural mint acne treatment. And there's a lot of these in here. Like you can see those packages there. You got some over here. You got some more baby food over here. But yeah, there's a lot of acne treatment in here. So it makes me wonder if these people who are running like a pyramid scheme, if we're selling this stuff, or maybe it actually worked. Who knows? That's interesting. Kid Activate. So that's like a kid trampoline. This is probably an older toy because I would think that something like this would be considered extremely dangerous by today's standards. And of course, over here, you got a whole bunch of stuff that's just in terrible shape. Looks like there's the game Trouble down there. You got a small Bissell vacuum cleaner. And of course, you just got some more cabinetry and whatnot. And you can see there's some mold on the wood that's laying on the floor down here. But otherwise, not a whole lot to see. This is a pretty cool piece, though. This is some kind of a, looks like gas fireplace, or maybe it's an electric one. There's no way this is a real stove, obviously. And it's not enclosed, so it's probably not gas. So it's probably an electric fake fireplace, and that's probably from the 70s as well. Of course, one of my viewers like Tommy or John will be sure to correct me if I'm wrong. And of course, as you look around here, you just got a lot of blankets and random junk that I am not going to dig through. And I know you guys all understand. Okay, so let's work our way back over this way because there's a couple more spots we have to check. And that's going to wrap this one up. Wow, look at that. They have like foil above the drywall there. Of course, this probably all got torn down by somebody looking for pipes. So like I said, over here, you just got a closet at the bottom of the stairs. Nothing too crazy. And if we go this way, oh, we got like a furnace room or something over here. So why don't we take a look at that? Oh, wow. It's got some old school carpet in here. This looks like 50s carpet. It's that like green moss type of carpet. And yeah, there's just a bunch of forgotten jackets. You can see there's kids stuff in here, so that's not really a surprise. And I'm looking at the furnace there. It looks like the last time somebody serviced it was in 2013. They got a little footstool there. And they got a spot to hang their vacuum accessories. And at one point, there was central vac in the basement here because you can see the pipe there and the mounting stuff on the wall. So this house was pretty fancy in the respect that they added central vac. Of course, that's like from a child's bed or a crib. They've got like a little armoire, an open armoire here. That water cooler is from 2000, November 19th, 2000. So that thing is well past its service date or service life. And of course you look this way and they got some cupboards on the wall. These are very similar to the ones we've seen throughout the house. There's the foundation behind it, but they're all empty. So we won't really go digging through those. So going back out here, looks like there's one more room left to the left of the stairs. And that's probably gonna wrap this one up. Wow. So over here we have the laundry room. Interestingly, there's a futon in the laundry room. And look at that, the carpet, the floors are carpeted, but the carpet looks like interlocked stone, like what you would see outside, which is pretty crazy. Of course, you can see they got butane all over the place in here. So again, that leads me to believe that, squatters were hanging out here. Butane's fairly cheap. And you got a butane heater right there. Or, it's a heater or a stove. And again, you got more melted stuff. So they were definitely into burning things. Over there behind those cupboards, that would be the circuit breaker. I'll just show you. So that's been modernized. They put a circuit breaker in there. But yeah, as you look around this room, some really awful wood paneling. You got some basic shelving on the wall here, and they have wine racks in there. Wow, look at that. Yeah, so they probably did grow their own grapes to make wine. And this is probably where they stored it all, which is pretty cool. And of course, you'd know a squatter was definitely staying in here at some point. The dryer is now gone, or the dryer is right here, but the vent is pulled out of the wall. And the washer is here. But interestingly, we do have a fridge. So I gotta open it for you guys. Freezer is clean. Let's move this out of the way. And open the fridge too. The fridge, oh, that's not so clean. That's quite gross. Wow. Oof. Everything in there is quite moldy and gross. It's really cold. Actually, no, I'm lying. It stinks. It's pretty gross. Wow. And of course, you got some crazy graffiti up there. But yeah, guys, on that note, that's going to wrap this one up. It's really not the biggest place we could have done, but it's definitely an interesting one. And I hope you guys enjoyed coming on this adventure with me. If you did, please make sure you hit that like button. Leave a comment about something you saw in here, something I said. Share the video out to help people see this one. And of course, make sure you smash that hype button up to 3 times to promote this video and really push it in YouTube's algorithm. All right, guys. That's all the time we have for this one today. I hope you guys enjoyed coming on this explore with me. This was a really interesting look inside a home that was built sometime around 1955 and unfortunately now has been sitting abandoned for about 4 or 5 years. This once beautiful home, this once well taken care of and cared for home, now sits here in a state of decay with rotten food, burned stuff, signs of squatters staying here and doing drugs here, and just everything that could go wrong with the house has gone wrong here. And this place will sit like this until its inevitable demolition to make way for a new development, which will change this corner of the neighborhood forever. If you guys enjoyed coming on this adventure with me, please make sure you hit that like button, leave a comment afterwards, share the video out, and of course, hype it up to 3 times to help push the video and the channel and YouTube's algorithm. Well, that's all the time we have for this one. If you haven't already and you enjoyed this explore, please make sure you hit that subscribe button over there. Check out the video from last week where we went through a home that was only 12 years old and already abandoned. Check out that random video up there. And we'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for tuning in.